Welcome to Talking Utter Slot, the slot car podcast. This week we've got our anoraks on because we've got slot rally time down in Abergavenny. Hello, I'm Scott.
And I'm Pedro.
On Sunday I head to Wales to take part in the Usk Valley Stages, a slot rally held by the Abergavenny Slot Rally Club and sponsored by Staff Slot Cars. I can enter up to 4 cars and I've started the task of finding, running and choosing which cars I'm going to take. Rally fever's in the news too, as many of this week's announcements have a rally theme. We'll be chatting about what caught our eye. You're not really a rally fan, are you, Pedro?
No. Next topic. That was short. Should we wrap it up there, Scott? That'll do.
Yeah, that's all we've got time for.
Sorry about that. It's true. I'm not an epic rally fan. I used to watch WRC in the days of Panizzi doing donuts under flyovers, but I don't watch it much now because I can't get excited by Hyundais and Focuses or whatever they're, Pumas. But talking of what caught our eye, what caught my eye was them. Well, there's several rally cars, as you say. There's the Scalauto Mitsubishis. They look tasty. And the Avant Slot Mantas. Although I prefer the earlier Manta shape that sort of looks like a squished up Stingray. Do you know that one?
The Manta A, as it's called.
If you say so. Yeah, I love those because my Auntie V used to have one. My Auntie V was a little bit racy. My Auntie V and my Uncle C, they were a little bit racy. And she had a purple Manta A, as you call it. And I just thought that was amazing.
Great.
Anyhow, go on. Tell us what you're choosing. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us about something about those Mitsubishis. Those Mitsubishis do look good, don't they?
They do look good, and I'm going to have one. There's some pictures appeared of them as road cars, but also in the various rally liveries, with sort of red, white, and shades of grey. So I'm going to have to resist getting a few of those. The Mantas, I've already got at least 2 Mantas. I've got Andrew's Heat for Hire one, and another one that I can't remember what the livery is. So, shall I pause? Are you wearing
What? Did you notice me disappear?
Yes, there was a lot of banging and crashing, and it sounded like you were wearing shoes that are too big for you. You know, like kids do when they're dressing up.
Oh, apologies, dear listeners. I've got my heavy, well-used flip-flops on, and there's a hard floor in there, and I realised I didn't have my notebook and pen with me. Sorry, Scott. Talk about professionalism. Why don't we?
That's all we do is talk about it. We don't exhibit any. Yeah.
So what were you saying about the Scalautos that I missed?
Almost everything. Anyway, some nice. I said about the Mantas as well. Pick it up with the Mantas. New liveries, particularly a Jimmy McCree one, but I've already got at least 2 Mantas. Andrew's Heat for Hire one, and another one that I can't remember. It may be Marlborough. Anyway, so I don't think I'll buy another one, but interesting and definitely on the will probably purchase list is the Avant Slot Nissan 240 Group B car.
I like the look of that one. I don't think I'll buy it. So hang on, sorry, who is it who's making it? Avant Slot?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. I don't like their pod.
Okay. And then the other thing, which was sort of rally related in the news, which was visible at the recent UK Slot Festival, was Pendle are doing a Mark I Transit as in this instance, a rally support vehicle, and you can get a trailer with a sort of spare wheel carrying attachment on the top of it, and of course make it a race support vehicle, or it could be a rally support vehicle. And transits were almost ubiquitous as rally support vehicles in the 70s. So, but I think it's a kit, and that would need painting and building, and I'm not sure I'm going to do that. So we'll see. But anyway, more transits as well as the who was it? Who was the nice? We saw some rally transits earlier in the year. Was that Avant Slot?
It was. When you talked about the Marlborough Manta, wasn't that? Oh no, it's Bastos with a.
Yes.
Vague. They did a truck and a trailer and a car. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. That's right. So anyway, so another transit. So
another transit. I missed that. That didn't catch my eye at all. That completely evaded my eye. Perhaps that's a new section. What evaded your eye?
It would be very long.
Yeah, it would be. Did you say Pendle?
Pendle kits, Pendle, big shop.
Yeah.
You buy lots of hubs from them. Well, they also make kit.
And they're from Lancashire, aren't they? They talk like that in Lancashire, and that's probably offending them. But I'm sorry, but I love the way they say, "All right, I'll put that through on the credit card for you."
I'm lost for words, which is extraordinarily rare. Anyway, what caught your eye? It would be a rally car, that's for sure.
What caught my eye? I think, well, I've been feeling a little bit of post-Gaydon malaise, I think, and
Is that a U2 album?
It sounds like it. Post-Gaydon malaise. I'm not sure it does sound like it, but I can imagine the opening chords with the edge twanging away. I did see, disappointingly, so I'm on the Armchair Racer newsletter thingy. Hello to all the Australian listeners. Have we got any Australian listeners? I'm not sure.
Yes, we have. We've got. In fact, we're one short of we'd think we're one short of 100.
No, seriously?
Yes.
Well, they massively outnumber the two Americans, the imaginary Canadian,
not really.
that Swedish bloke, and the German.
No, things have moved on. I mean,
I haven't, Scott. I haven't. I don't move on.
That's true. Well, there's. I think we can take it that there are multiple listeners in Australia. Hello, listeners in Australia.
Well, g'day, mate. But I am on their newsletter for Armchair Racer, which is I like their newsletter, and it manages to get through my filters. And I did notice that they had something that I did write it down, but I've forgotten it. The title was something like making mistakes and learning from them, and the first item underneath that title was NSR announcing more R-baths, but in Repsol liveries. And I thought, yeah, you don't learn from your mistakes, do you?
So was that what they were referring to? Are they going to buy more of them?
I don't know, actually. I think I read the rest of the email. I think I read it. I didn't just look at the pictures, and I didn't quite understand why the title was there. No, you have a point, but maybe I missed the point, which wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be funny though. What and then so nothing else caught your eye. It's been out of rally cars and NSRs that you won't buy.
No, just today, I did catch up because I've been a little bit sort of offline, as the kids say, over the bank holiday weekend that we've had here in Blighty. I did catch up with Slot Car Passion and noticed that there's a very interesting Fly M1 art car coming, and I've been recently looking again at my Fly M1 collection, because I love them to bits, and so many of them have busted pinions that I've changed a couple, and I'm trying to source some tyres for some of them as well. And I noticed there's another art car coming, which looks quite sweet. And also on Slot Car Passion, they have another thing about the Polycar Marlboro BRM, which I think means putting two and two together. They've put it up there on their pages. That wife of a Mario brother at Gaydon said they just had a shipment at the Italian factory, or at Italian offices of Slotted. I think those things are coming soon. I think they are.
Okay.
Finally.
Well, it looks every bit as lovely as I'd hoped. So I've had one of those on order from before even the first one got delivered. So I shall look forward to that. But
the good news there, of course, sorry to interrupt you again, if that one's coming, then the Maserati MC GT3 Paul Ricard must be soon on its way.
No, I think I've heard they've pulled that one completely. The ship side with a container on them.
Talking to one of the Mario brothers, he was completely unaware of the existence of the beast. So
I think he just didn't want to carry on talking to you anymore.
I won't lie. He looked like he was talking to someone behind me as he spoke to. I thought he was speaking to me. So yeah, he probably went, "Oh no, not this idiot."
He is quite tall, to be fair, and you're not the tallest chap, so maybe it was just a height difference.
That's a bit outrageous.
It's true, though. Anyway, one of the things which arrived post Gaydon for me was my Esso oil drip man sign from Magnetic Racing.
Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
And I need to paint bits of it, and it's quite. I mean, it's laser cut sort of bits of wood, so you press them out and glue them together. So that's fairly straightforward. But I just need to paint the actual oil man bits. So I need some black, white, a tiny bit of blue, and some yellow. But I'll do that, and I'll probably try and get that done before Le Mans, because of course that sign, I think it appeared in other circuits, but I know it from the end of the beginning of the pit lane on Le Mans back in the late 60s, early 70s. And so I'll get that ready for then. And I also, and I should have bought it when I was there, when I bought my Tiny Robin, which was the Steve McQueen flipping the what's-its, but I ordered one of those and he arrived. But these are Le Mans things, so we'll talk about them next episode, because it's rallying now and then it's Le Mans.
Oh, have we not moved on from rallying? I wanted to ask you about. Well, I can dream, can't I? I wanted to ask you about the drippy man. How tall does he stand?
9 inches, 10 inches.
I won't lie to you, not thinking about your delivery of the sponsor banner. Well, it's a whole kind of, it's a sign, but it's a whole installation, isn't it, really?
It's all, you get an option of ways of holding it up. You get a sideways structure, and you get a more conventional sort of vertical one, which I have to confess I've already glued together, because it was easy to do and I didn't have to paint anything.
So I don't know where I saw it. I would assume it was an Instagram thing, but I noticed a magnetic racing pit wall array, and I thought that looks cool. And so I then found myself, maybe it's because genius, maybe it's because I actually follow Magnetic Racing on Instagram. That'll be why I saw it. Worked that one out. I found myself spending way too much time on their website. My God, they make a lot of stuff, and most of it looks bloody brilliant. But most of it looks like you need a shed load of space.
Well, I don't think the intention is you have everything. But
oh no! I would want everything they do. At least one.
Think at Gaydon they had a built, painted, and slightly weathered Reims lap counter thing, which is, for people who don't know what it is, it's a sort of huge, it's a real life structure, huge sort of fat T-shaped thing, and the model of it looks absolutely spot on, and sort of properly weathered the way they had it. It looked delicious, and but yeah, it's quite big. It's about it must be at least nearly 2 foot wide or something. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I think
good news.
I'm guessing.
The good news with the pit wall thing, because I went and checked, is it's only 66 centimeters wide. And I was beginning to think maybe, just maybe, there's a possibility with my temporary circuit, what I'm sort of building, I might be able to find space for a little bit of pit wall. I won't have pits behind them. They'll be sort of butt up against the background, if there is a background. But I just thought, wouldn't it be cool? That's the little modeler in me, I think, coming out.
Yeah.
I do love the idea of, making it all scenic. And there's an excellent thread on that slotforum.com. Other forums are available, and they're almost as good. And I think it's called Go on.
I was going to say, anyone listening from Slot Racer, he is joking, by the
way. You've thrown me now. There's this thread of a build called Lockdowns, I think it is. Play on words there, because I think he started during the pandemic. Well, I thought I'd have to explain it to people, because our listeners aren't possibly the brightest. No, now I've offended them.
Good
all those hundreds of Australians and the imaginary Canadian and the American.
Stop.
There's a Swede as well. Anyhow, Lockdowns have a look on Slot Forum because his work is amazing and his track is just fantastic. And I would love to have the space to do something like that. I really would.
I'd just like to apologise for the huge number of listeners that you've just offended. Well, anyway,
no, I didn't mean to offend them. If they've taken offence, that's their choice.
Yes. No, I think it was pretty clear.
Sorry, apologies.
You can't pull out that one. But I think going back to I think one of the joys of having a permanent track up is you start to add things to it, and then I suspect we all go through the phase where you have nothing and it's lovely and clean, and you add a bit and that's great. Then you add a bit more, and you add a bit more, and then you go, that's too much. You need to take things away, and it becomes a bit of a moving feast. I mean, presently I have 2 pit lanes, a small cow farm, a helicopter, a nightclub, and a couple of other buildings.
Do you not have a blimp?
No, I used to very much want a blimp, but no, I haven't got a blimp. I have a number of 1/32 scale aircraft, which in that time, which will never happen, I've always intended they were going to be suspended above.
Yeah.
But, and I think this is one of the more you add, the less scale it looks, because you emphasise that the track is basically a car park. So I think that's one of the difficulties. So you could put probably 1/72 scale aircraft would look probably about right.
Yeah, less is definitely more. I think to have a car running around in wide open spaces with the occasional Marshall stand or something would be cool. But some of those pit buildings that Magnetic Racing do, we're no way involved with them. I think actually, don't they sponsor another podcast or a slot to a YouTuber?
Possibly. You think we're worthy? You think we're losing out commercially?
Well, no, I just think we might be stepping on toes. Should I just say they're crap instead?
No, because it's not true.
It's not true. I would be talking out of slot if I said that. No, I want. Yes. The problem is going to be that my track, if it ever exists, will be on 3 boards, 2 of which are constructed but have no track on them. And because of the temporary nature of it, if I got those pit walls, where am I going to store them? Am I going to be bothered to get them out every time? It's. I can see, if I'm not careful, setting up my simple 3 boards will become like a morning's work, and then I'll race a few laps, and then I think, oh God, I've got to start packing it all away now, which is disappointing. To have the space would be a dream. And that's why I do Euro Millions tonight. Don't forget, boys and girls, 75 million up for grabs.
That would buy you quite a lot of slot magnetic racing scenery. In fact, they'd build you a layout for.
They would, wouldn't they?
Yeah. They'd build you a very nice layout for a lot less than that, I think. Going back to rallying, because I think we ought to.
I'm trying to get you off that one.
No, I know, but so let me just recap. So the rally has 3 classes. And you can enter 4 cars, up to 2 in any given class. So the classes are classic, 80s, 90s, or what's called modern. It's been called modern for quite a long time, but essentially that is, so modern is things like not Group B, but it's, WRC cars and the current cars. So anything from the 90s, noughties, so Sebastian Loeb, all that kind of stuff. So lots of Citroens. On the 80s, 90s is great because it's all Group B, if you want to. There's a huge number of Quattros, etc. And then, of course, earlier than that, it's all the classic stuff. So it could be an old Jag or an old Fiat or a TR7 or whatever. So it's probably the variation in the old stuff is huge. Now, I always like to fill out. So I've got 4 cars. So I should run 4 cars, make it worthwhile. And I'm a very lucky boy because one of the organisers of the club is going to build me, or he's building himself, to be fair. He's building himself a Tony Pond Rover. And he said, if it was finished on time, would I like to run it in the rally? And I said, yes, I would. So
Rover what though, Scott? Rover what? Sorry, ignorant peasant. I don't know what Tony Pond Rover drove.
A Vitesse, Rover Vitesse, SD1. So,
right.
So that'll be lovely. So of course, for those who don't know, I used to work there, and that's a big emotional attachment with that. So that's kind of one car taken care of. So I've got 3 to pick. So I've been rummaging through the crates and pulling out stuff. And in past history, it shows that there's lots of tight, twisty, narrow little bits on some of the tracks, and they're not that fast. They're very kind of blat, 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 blat. And some of the surfaces are very grippy. So you want something which can handle rapid changes of direction, reasonably narrow, but quite responsive without being too kind of trigger happy. So in my extensive testing so far, I've got lots of SCX cars, and that's the great thing about Slot Rally. You can use cars. It's not all about slot it and sideways and NSR, although I'm sure people have got those rally cars. But things like Ninco and SCX. But because the sponsor is Staffs UK, and they are the importer stroke distributor for Team Slot and Avant Slot, I feel I ought to show, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of solidarity, support, etc. So I have a Team Slot Quattro, which is wickedly quick. Now, of course, it's wickedly quick running on its own. I might get to the event and find out I'm last, but it's wickedly quick around my little track. And it's in 555, sort of bright yellow 555 livery. I think it ran in China. So to use your philosophy, I will be able to see it in the far-flung corners of the hall. And the other one is a Ninco. I know that's not Avant Slot. I've got the Avant Slot Manta. I'll probably take one of those. But I've got a Ninco 911 in the Martini livery, which was the rally car. Now, I think that's a must. I think I've got to take them. One of the interesting things they insist on is the cars have got a co-driver. So you can't just take a car which say, oh, that was a rally car. Like some of the old SCX cars don't have co-drivers on them. So you have to prise them apart and glue a little man in. So these are all factors that come into account about when I'm picking the cars. But mostly it's about, am I going to enjoy looking at it and driving it all day? Because that's what I'll be doing.
And eating a bacon butty, I believe. Is that not what
bacon
you do?
Bacon butty, first thing, bacon butty. Get there at 9 o'clock, bacon butty, bit of practice, not too much. Scrutineering, not too much of that either. And then you form it. Then you form into sort of small groups, and you go around all the stages, and you run all your cars, and you marshal for each other, and it's
is there genuinely not much scrutineering? Because I know I arrived late to the polycar thing, but I was a little surprised at the lax scrutineering of my car. I wasn't cheating. My car, I believe, was fully compliant with the rules, but it was just like, let's have a look at your car. I waved it about a foot away from somebody, and they went, "Yeah, that looks all right," and that was it.
Well, I've never done the scrutineering, so I can't. No, I think they check the car, they check for magnets, they check it fits the class. Has it been modified? Is it box standard? Mine are all box standard.
Do you have to keep your tyres inside the arches, or are you allowed a little tyre creep outside of the arches, like a mil, half a mil?
Oh, that's a good question. Because I just run box stock ones, it's never been an issue. The old SCX 911 used to have a really wide axle that stuck
It would be
out.
a massive issue with those because they were like 2 millimeters either side.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to run that because, as I say, a lot of the stages are quite narrow, and you don't want anything. You want,
right.
In fact, it used to be one of the best cars was a tiny little SCX Fiats because they were sort of half the width of everything else, and they would just sort of buzz through. So yeah, there's a compromise between size, and you want something that's going to stay in the slot pretty well because it might be a bit rough. So something with a drop guide or a sprung guide could be useful, that sort of thing.
And I remember a while back seeing some results from a proxy, maybe. Yeah, I think it was a proxy. The SRC 914 seemed to dominate.
Yeah, I think and again, anybody from Spain listening will wonder what we're talking about because they have huge slot rally events where big tracks made out of Ninco or whatever and all sort of landscaped, etc. Some of these tracks are made from home track, as it were, Ninco or scalextrics. A lot of them are made from old track, which has been heavily scenic and landscaped and maybe have rough surfaces added to it. Some of them are routed out of wood, and those are they can be very fast because of the smoothness of them, but also they can be quite tight and twisty. So, and if they've got hazards like trees or posts, etc., you can't be sliding about too much. So
now the old,
there's a variety of challenges, but it's not like racing where you want low, wide, super fast, because that's not going to do you much good on most of the stages.
But the SRC 914 is low and is narrow, I believe. So I think that's why it was sort of dominating. I don't remember if we mentioned it. I do recall putting it in the show notes many moons ago, being suitably impressed and chuffed with something that the Graham algorithm chucked my way, which was someone Spanish. Of course, it had to be someone Spanish, taking a glue gun to a piece of track and basically putting knobbly bits on the track with the glue gun. Just random blobs of glue, which suddenly make your track into a kart track, basically. Really, really bumpy. And I just thought, what utter genius to make, because some of that textured track from Ninko goes for a fortune because it's no longer around, and I guess because it wasn't fantastically popular in its day, and it goes for quite a lot on eBay. So just to get your hot glue gun out and to make your own seems like a genius move.
Yeah, it's a good way round to that. There's usually buying all that stuff because it's now pretty rare. Even the SCX textured track, I think, is pretty rare. So we'll look. I haven't done a slot rally for I'm going to say 2 years, few years. Can't remember. I think it was post lockdown, so maybe a couple of years. So I'm looking forward to it. Long old drive. Takes me 3 hours to get there, so I'll be leaving at about 6 in the morning, and looking forward to my bacon roll.
That is dedication.
Well, it all feels very authentic because it's rallying in Wales, so that's all part of what you do. The road trip was always part of going rallying, so good. And it's good, and it's you see folk. Nice. We end up in a group of about, I don't know, say 4 or 5 going round the stages together, and so inevitably you're chit chatting away to each other. It's good. It's good fun. You should come. Go on.
You say that, and I think I shouldn't.
Here you go. I'll lend you the cars.
I've got rally cars. I don't know quite why. I mean, from where I sit now, I look across and I can see an SCX Mitsubishi and an SCX Cordoba. Was it Cordoba? Because someone on someone on slotforum.com, other forums are available and they're almost as good. Someone had posted something about SCX rally cars, maybe, and I said I'd got quite a collection. I do actually have quite a collection of the SCX Cordobas. I think I've got close to 10 of those, and I've also got 4 or 5 of the Ibizas.
10?
Yeah, close to, I'm sure, because I got Planeta Directo and Alta,
so
whatever.
So why you don't like rally cars and you've got 10? Why have you got so many of those?
Well, so the thing is, I used to like rally cars, but I've grown up, Scott. See what I've done there?
No, you're wrong, though. You're wrong.
Yeah, completely wrong. I haven't grown up at all.
But even so, buying 10 of them, I mean, it's not like they're 6R4s or Lancia Stratoses or.
I've got a few 037s. I've got a few Stratosises. I've got a few of the team slot ones because I love the team slot ones. I don't know if it's a correct scale. I suspect it isn't, but there's something about their chunky robustness that I just love of the team slot ones. I haven't got. I think the Ninko one looks like it's a more accurate model, and I would assume the scalextric one is a more accurate scale-wise model. But there's something about the slightly cartoonish nature of the team slot that I really like. So I've got 3 of those. One of them, a white kit waiting to be stripped because I've cocked up the livery. There we go, 29 minutes and it's a livery. Paying out on 29 minutes and 27 seconds, I believe. So I've got to dunk that in the IPA at some point. And IPA? ISO. I could dunk it in IPA, but that's not going to make the IPA taste any better.
There you go. Top tips, slot racers. What you need to do. None of this, special oils and all that stuff. You just dip your car in some good old-fashioned warm British beer.
And that'll strip the paint off a treat. Yes.
Maybe we could get a brewer to sponsor us.
Maybe. I must be lying. I doubt I've got 10 Cordobas.
Who knows?
Well, I've got 6 or 7 of them for sure. I'm trying to think of the liveries now.
Well, so you've got lots of rally cars, so there's no excuse, and you're halfway there. You're halfway there. You could get there sooner than I could.
Yeah, and the weird thing is,
go on. You want to?
I do have quite a few of them in boxes, and they don't. Then none of them are in the to eBay pile because I have a fondness for them. And like I say, I will almost certainly have to have a Scalauto Mitsubishi, though God knows when, because Scalauto's distribution certainly to the UK seems woeful. But then I'm not exactly. Scalauto are annoying me at the moment because my feed on Instagram is full of their shiz, be it LMP hypercars or whatever, or Mitsubishis. Yet I see none of it on the shelves. I know the LMPs haven't been released yet, and the Scalauto. I just wish these people would actually build the hype when they've got some stock behind them, basically, so that we can see it on the Instagram, go, oh, that's exciting, and then within a week or two buy it, rather than see it on Instagram, go, that's exciting, and then just forget about it because it just doesn't appear. There was a little rant there.
Okay, so I think it's fine to build excitement beforehand. I mean, pre-sales are probably important to the retailers because let's face it, they want to sell. If you were a slot car seller and you've got 20 people saying, "Oh, I want one of those when they come," before they've ordered any, then it means that they might order 30 from the manufacturer. Whereas if you wait till they've made 5,000 of them or whatever, or 1,000, whatever the number is, then the sales are going to take a bit longer. So,
but
you're just impatient. You're just impatient.
I am, but I'm also I have grounds because I so dearly wanted the Scalauto Pantera in blue that they announced that they were going to be doing. I can't remember where it raced. May have been a rally car. They announced it. It was a blue Pantera. I love Panteras, and I thought I'll wait for that one. And I saw it in a cage many moons ago, probably pre-pandemic. And I thought, okay, so they've got a production model there that will come out soon, and it's never appeared. There was that one in a cabinet in Gaydon, and then it didn't appear. So in the end, I had to have one of the yellow ones. But you see, I think that's a mold that they're not squeezing. The Pantera, because I love Panteras. I love a Pantera. I love cheese balls and a Pantera.
And of course, Mr. Scalauto was at Gaydon, and you could probably have, yes.
Was he?
You could probably have walked up and talked to him and asked him. But
kicked him in the shins, you mean? Who's Mr. Scalauto?
I can't remember his name without looking it up. I'm sorry, but he was there.
Was it Vincent?
No, maybe. I don't think Vincent's involved with Scalauto, but you never know. No, I think no. He's but Scalauto is also Crick Crack, is also DS, is also
yes, that's really. Yeah, you see, I increasingly, because they're annoying me, I think they've got their fingers in too many pies, and I suggest they pull their fingers out of pies and actually start making some cars rather than just posting pictures of 3D.
Okay. I think just to provide some background to your business advice for slot car makers. So you've got how many incompleted white kits?
That's not the point, Scott.
Okay.
That's the beauty of hypocrisy is hypocrisy. Anyhow, you say that, but just this very day, I had a delivery. I had a parcel, and there was an unboxing in my kitchen of. What do you think there was an unboxing of?
Oh, wheel hubs.
Nope. I'm through that phase.
A Blues Brothers police car.
No, I saw that was is that listed on Pendle's site now? That looks an amusing thing. No, I had some paint delivered because I've post Gaydon, I've had a malaise, like disappointment at now having to wait months for the next Gaydon. But I've also had a resurgence of enthusiasm for my white kits, which I have too many of. You're right. You're correct. I have too many white kits on the go.
How many? To the nearest 5.
I dread to count, but in the last, so I just undercoated another one today. There's the Lexus, there's the Bentley, There's the 911. There's 2 AMG GT3s. The NSX I haven't started. There's that Stratos that I've completely forgotten about. There's at least one Huracan. That could be close to it. So I do have quite a few white kits on the go. And I did have some paint arrive today to hopefully do the Lexus. Vassar Sullivan Racing Lexus, and that'll give me 2 Lexi, the yellow one and the red one. And
the plural of Lexus is Lexus, but anyway, carry on.
Yeah, but that's more fun to say Lexi, isn't it? If you're sad and lonely.
And Alan
Partridge, who I'm not. Well, and actually, as I look across, I mentioned one Huracan. I've just looked across over to my left, and there's actually another Huracan with a half livery on it. So that's another one to add to the list. But the one that's got me quite excited over the weekend was the Bentley Continental that I'm doing, the sideways Bentley, which is a beautiful looking beast. I do like that shape of Bentley. If I have won the Euro Millions later on, I will be picking up one of those in the real world. And I sprayed some Zero Paints steel. It's a really tricky car. It's a Kyalami livery. Kyalami 9 hours from, I think, 2021. And there's not many photos on Tinternet that I can find of it. I can find a lot of photos of like Spark models and stuff, but not of the actual car. So I painted it in a bit of Zero Paint steel. And didn't look quite right, so I then put a second coat on, mixing in a little bit of Zero Paint's carbon fiber, and it looks pretty good, I think. And so I'm quite happy with that, and it's rolling along. So my production levels are very soon going to leapfrog Scalautos, is the long and the short of that one.
Yeah. Sorry, you finished. Good.
Outrageous. No, hang on, because you took forever going on and on and on about rally cars.
But you were literally
of all things.
You were literally talking about paint drying. I mean,
oh, I see what you did there, and I doff my hat, sir. That was quality wordplay.
Anyway, I'll carry on working on you because there's days to go before you need to be in Abergavenny, and just show up.
Is it Saturday?
Sunday. You can definitely make it.
Yeah, what I thought I was doing on Saturday, I'm actually doing on Sunday.
No.
But dude, that means you'll miss the Barcelona Grand Prix.
Yes, I think you've used the wrong verb there, haven't you? Miss? I'm not going to miss it. I mean, what a waste of space for modern Formula 1 is.
No.
Yes,
no.
And the most boring, well, I don't know if it is, because the most boring track used to be Barcelona. Because they know because they all test there, they can never overtake and everything. I remind you, they were at Monaco, and what was that, a bit of a farce? It probably. I'm not interested, really. I'm not. I genuinely, I'm not interested. There's more than enough old Formula 1 on YouTube that I can happily watch. Watched a great thing today, which was a documentary made in about 1969 about Mark Donoghue and Roger Penske running in Trans Am and Can-Am and various. Great.
Oh, and was that them cheating like loons, stripping down dipping the body shell or something to lighten the load?
No, there was no reference to cheating, but it was very good actually. And given that Penske will be coming to Le Mans, so he's won kind of everything lots of times as a team owner.
Sorry, stop. He's coming to Le Mans in what shape? Oh, is he running a Porsche?
Penske runs the Porsches, so the works Porsches are Penske's. So he's there's a number of things that are good stories. Ferrari coming back, Porsche coming back with Penske, Toyota beating everybody.
You had to get that in, didn't you?
Can the Van Wall last?
And that was below the belt.
Well, I hope it does.
Or was the Van Wall the one that Villeneuve drove into somebody at Spa?
That was
allegedly.
He's been rested for Le Mans, though.
Has he now?
He's been rested. He was 2 seconds a lap slower than the other guys all the races so far.
Truly?
So, yeah. Wow. Which is a great shame. So, I mean, I have a lot of time.
I know, and the irony there. Sorry, the irony there is he's still probably a very fast driver. I mean, he was 2 seconds a lap slower than some truly fast driver, yet he is still quite a fast driver, I would imagine. I'm sure he hasn't completely lost it.
Well, no, it's completely, but it's a difference. It's a world championship.
Age.
You know, he should probably be doing historic stuff or something and having a blast.
Yeah.
But anyway, he can do whatever he likes, and if people want to give him rides in Le Mans cars, that's fine. Well, clearly they don't. Anyway, we digress. We digress. But
I wanted to digress
Abergavenny.
further and keep you off the subject of rallies. But you'd mentioned Penske, and did you see what happened at Penske's track at the Indianapolis 500?
I did. I watched the highlights.
A bit of a farce and a bit of F1 disease creeping in with the red flags.
Oh, was it a farce? I don't know. I thought they were necessary, weren't they? There was that.
Didn't they end up with a one-lap shootout in a Michael Massey style? Let's gift it to the guy behind.
Yeah, well, American race, they do end up crashing a lot. I mean, I was intrigued. I didn't investigate it, but I was intrigued at the restarts that people seem to be overtaking before the line. Where I understood the line to be, which I thought was not allowed. But I don't. I'm no expert on the rules for IMSA, but not IMSA. Sorry, for IndyCar racing. So but the cars look silly because they've got sort of long noses and bubble canopies and big flared trousers and stuff. They look like
and tiny wings at Indianapolis 500. They're wafer-thing little wings.
So, again, all of the old Indy 500s are available. The full-length broadcasts from ABC, all sort of 3.5 hours, are available on YouTube for the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and a very pleasant afternoon can be spent reliving the 1986 Indy 500 or whatever. So, modern motorsport, a bit like modern music, if I may draw a parallel. Whereas everything is available all the time, everywhere now, not just the new stuff. And therefore, some beat combo starting now has to compete with the Stones, the Beatles, and everything else that was good, rather than just who happens to be releasing a chart this month, a song this month. And so motor racing, it has got to be good because I can spend 2 hours watching some great stuff from the past on YouTube or other streaming services.
Right. I wondered where you were going with that. You pulled it back for me at the end there. I wondered where. Okay.
Well, it's exactly that. I mean, I could sit down and watch. I mean, I want to watch modern WEC. I love watching, and and I'm really looking forward to Le Mans, and I will be glued to the TV for.
But you're excited by the hypercar malarkey, aren't you? I'm still on the edge with those. The thing that excites me with Le Mans is the sort of return of the GT3s or whatever they're calling them now.
Well, they haven't been away. They're still there. But but Le Mans is the great thing about Le Mans is the history, the track, but also the very fast cars doing crazy things in the middle of the night, and also, I mean, I lament the fact there aren't all the crazy garage bolted together things which come along as a one-off and turn up year after year because they're just not allowed anymore. But that's
you mean the Alain de Cadenet style?
Alain de Cadenet or some of those and all those old Aston Martins, the ones that looked like they had some sort of air conditioning ducting just bolted on the side for the wires and stuff. So and a whole ton of French things which were little teardrops and painted blue. Lovely. So, but you don't get any of that. But it's good. The hypercars are great. The GTE class is great. No, there's a lot to look forward to there.
But isn't the GT? I'm going to keep calling it GT3. Hasn't it been swollen? Hasn't it swollen this year or something? I thought I may be wrong, but I thought there was sort of a resurgence of GT3 at Le Mans.
So what Le Mans has been, and the World Championship runs what's called GTE, which are pretty much GT3 cars, but GTE. And they used to run a Pro class and a Pro-Am class. For this year, the Pro class has ended, and they're all Pro-Am. And part of the reason for that is there are so many works hypercars that they needed the good drivers to be in those. But also going forward, they will adopt GT3 rules. And the significance of that is that previously under GTE, we didn't get things like the Lamborghini or the Bentley or some of the other GT3 cars, which are so common in at Bathurst or at Spa or whatever. From next year, it'll be GT3 rules. So all of those wonderful. So the number or the variety of GT3 cars will be much greater.
Good.
Should potentially. But essentially the class is as it was. It's just they're no longer the pro-only teams. It's Pro-Am.
Because I'm sure I've said this or words to this effect before, but I remember 95, 96, 97, 90, years up to 95, you had a good old mix of cars on the grid, I feel, whereas everything's has been a bit blancmangy and jelly mouldy, everything out of the same mould for too many years to my dodgy eyes. And I like the fact that we might see, I didn't realize it was next year, might see more different silhouettes and different shapes and sizes and just more interest. I accept the hypercars, several of those look quite fundamentally different to one another, which is a good thing. And also GT3s, if we get the Huracans next year, might be a bit old, I would have thought, but I doubt anyone's running Bentleys, are they? But the possibility is there for some interesting stuff.
That's it. Well, I think the hypercar class. I mean, you've got Porsche back, Ferrari back, Cadillac coming back to Le Mans,
Peugeot,
the Peugeot. I used to work at Peugeot, so I'm slightly torn here.
Did you ever talk to any of the drivers, Scott? Did they ever talk to you?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah,
give us some names, Scott. Give us some names.
Not Le Mans ones, but that car. I applaud them doing it, but I think they've built a car. I hope they built a car just for Le Mans because it has Peugeot, because it has proved to be very not useful at any other track. And they were they didn't look too bad last year because it was really just them, Toyota, and the Glickenhaus. But this year they have been, they've been blown away. I mean, Sebring was embarrassing. But maybe they've just built a car which is super quick in a straight line, and they'll have the last laugh come Sunday afternoon, which is part of all the joy of this year. Who knows what's going to happen?
Two things. Well, the Glickenhaus are there two of those now? Was there only one racing for a while?
They usually race one in the non-Le Mans races, and then they race two at Le Mans.
Okay. Cool. And just so I can steal your crown, do you remember I messaged you that I had been talking to that racing driver what got on the podium at Le Mans the other day?
Did?
I was chatting away like we were best buds, really. Yeah, we were talking about the pub and everything, like we were besties. Me and that Anthony Reid. Boom, clang. There goes a name. Yeah, lives in my village. He does. So I had a chat with him about the pub reopening.
Jolly good.
Well, okay. It was almost as good as some of your name drops, I suspect.
No.
I mean, have you, Scott, ever name dropped someone who got on the podium at Le Mans? Your Tony Ponds, your Tim Harveys.
Probably not. But
no, there you go. Trumped.
And on that electoral bombshell, I think we probably ought to wrap it up. But it should have been all rallying. We started talking about Le Mans early. It's Le Mans 2 weeks' time, because sheer coincidence or great planning, dear listener, you judge which one it might have been. The next episode is episode 24, and we're going to be, I think the young people say, dropping it. We'll be publishing it just before Le Mans.
What, are we going to drop it on the mic? No.
Is that the wrong word? Have I misunderstood?
I'm not down with the kids like you are, Scott.
So for episode 24, I'm encouraging Peter that we should devote it to all things Le Mans. Be it real or slot. And then I can tell you all about my tiny little Steve McQueen.
Oh, well, I've peaked too soon with my Anthony Reid story, unless I talk to him in the intervening week.
Best do that.
Yeah.
Why don't you get interesting anecdotes from Anthony?
I'll doorstep him.
Maybe what you need to do is get on the phone to those nice people at 132 Models and see if they've got an Anthony Reid figure.
Well, it would be an Anthony Reid figure. Instead of flicking the V's from the conversation I had with, it'd be Anthony Reid standing there with a pint glass in his hand, downing some IPA.
I'm sure they've got something that would suffice. Anyway. So we should call a halt. As I say, we look forward to it all. So Abergavenny, I'll let you know how badly I do.
We'll need a race report.
We'll convince Peter to come along. We're going to have fun, I know that, and then it's all normal. So, until then, I'm going to say goodbye.
Do I say goodbye as well?
It would be polite if you did.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
This far. And we are out. You singing queen or something?
You're calling me a singing queen?
No, I was saying I might catch you singing queen. But if you feel, if your conscience is pricking you, guess where that little bit of recording's going.
I can imagine.
Right, focus up. Once more with feeling.